You know, here we are, September, and it's almost like the first of the year. We want to start over fresh. So what do you want to create this time of year? I think we need to take advantage of that energy and that drive we have to create anew. That would be really, really great to really tap into that. I think it can be really valuable because it just never leaves us since we were kids. So one of the things that I've worked with a lot of my clients on is vision. And if you really want to reach your dreams, you have to be really clear on what your vision might be. And, you know, like, what do you want? You know, what's in your heart? You know, what is something that you yearn for, that you wish for? And sometimes it's good to go back to when we were little kids. And, you know, what did you dream about then? You know, what did you, you know, notice in the world? You know, another thought is, you know, what naturally evokes compassion within you? And often we have so many talents, every one of us, that we're so used to them. We take them for granted. And, you know, when I was creating Insightful Player, it wouldn't have happened without vision. And the idea to work with the NFL to inspire youth first came to me, I'm like, what right do I have to do this? I mean, I have no experience in the football industry, and why would they want to work with me? You know, what right do I have that? And I had a lot of those negative voices scaring me away for a long time, and then finally I just couldn't take it anymore. It was really frustrating me, and I just knew I had to take it on. The pain of not doing it became much bigger than the pain of the scare of trying to do it. And so I grew up in football, and you know, my father was a coach and he was a role model. So we all want to go back to our roots. What did you notice when you were little? I was just always enamored by the way he was empowering children all his life. He used the football and the baseball field as a way to really help kids build character and learn valuable life skills. Now, what happened early in your life? And sometimes it can be a negative experience. I remember in 3rd grade, I had this really mean nun, and she was horrible. And you know, they made us write our full name on our papers, all our tests and everything. And I wrote Chrissy Carew instead of Christine Carew. And when she went to pass out the papers, she stood up in front of the class with her really stern face and said, everyone did really well on the test except for one person flunked it. And the reason why she flunked it is she didn't use a Christian name. And she stomped down the aisle and she threw the test on my desk. And I was just like horrified. And at that moment, I haven't used the name Christine since, by the way. I just, absolutely not. And I knew at that moment I did not want to grow up like that. So I had a vision of who I did not want to be, you know, and it was very clear to me. And that really, so sometimes when we have negative experiences, we can take a look at something that upset you or you didn't care for, or that was a huge obstacle for you as a child. What's the opposite of that? Because that might be your road. That might be your road. And so vision is something that actually comes to us. And usually it's much bigger than we are, so we tend to push it away. You know, we're like, oh yeah, right, I live in a dream world. And that's how I felt at first when I started Insightful Player. I called all 32 NFL teams and said, I want to interview your top guys, you know. I want to, you know, do a positive story about them, really positive story. And, you know, I want guys that are spiritual, that really care about kids. I don't want any showboats, no showboats, that are doing this just for PR. And guess what? After a while, it kicked in. It really kicked in. And I said, if the players aren't as excited as doing cartwheels and flips to get to this interview, they're not a good match. But it took me a long time to get there, because I started trying to do my coaching. I'm, you know, a personal and business coach inside the NFL. And I spent probably a year and a half or more calling all the teams, you know, because I really wanted to help build role models on and off the field. And that didn't work. and I felt so discouraged before I got to Insightful Player, and I almost gave up on it. But another key point is that we can never do anything alone. And so I had a lot of support, friends, and as a coach, I always have a coach. Those ads for those men that lose hair, I'm not just a client. No, I'm just not the owner, I'm also a client. Well, it's that same kind of thing. And I see someone is chatting. Okay, we have Philip, who's also a coach. Welcome, Philip. I had lunch with a friend who has dramatically changed her business in the past year. She attributes the change to creating a vision instead of flying by the seat of her pants. Well, that's a really good point, and I'm really glad to hear that, because a lot of us do fly at the seat of our pants. And vision is something that really can help ground us, because and one of the things it does for us, it helps us want more for ourselves. See, we don't want enough for ourselves out there in the world, and that's a lot of what my players talk about. They want people to really want more for themselves, all the way from Roger Staubach to the McCourty twins to the Sama Young. I mean, Kevin Riley, who couldn't be with us tonight. We have to want more. We don't think we can have more. And that's why vision is so good. It like speaks to us. It comes from within, and it's pretty incredible what insights it can give you. And you just have to think about, what is it inside your heart that this speaks to you. What do you enjoy? Because the things that we enjoy in life are really the clues of where we should be spending our time. And they should be also, really, get you on that path to really pay attention. Because we were brought up, I know I was, in the parochial schools, no pain, no gain, right? You got to really work on those weaknesses, I remember getting my hands slapped with a ruler or a yardstick because my penmanship wasn't right, and I never was very good at the Palmer method. I admire people with beautiful handwriting. I don't have it. But again, there was a lot of my elementary school years focusing on my penmanship, when they really should have focused on my art, and my English and things that I was really drawn to, because that would have made a huge difference. Does anyone here have anything they want to say about going after their dreams or vision, or how many questions about vision? Because vision is such a powerful thing to adopt, and it's you really want to take a look at, what is it that you want, what is it? Because we all came to the world with a complete set of desires, and the reason why we have those desires is because we do have the ability to see them through, but we just don't believe it. And so back to my players, they all, talking about going after their dreams, they too had a lot of support. And when I was discouraged, with it, coaching in the NFL, I got a lot of support. I couldn't have done it without my colleagues. And we have another point here. How about walking us through how to create a compelling vision, not a wish? All right. Again, start with what's in your heart. What do you want in your life? You want to make it compelling, and also another point about it is specific. Who is that vision going to support, right? Because the greatest level of fulfillment any of us can ever experience in our life is by what we contribute to others. That's why we're here. And so vision isn't all about us. It's much bigger than us, much bigger than we are. What logical sense does it make for a baby boomer, right? That's me, to work in the NFL when I had absolutely no experience with this young, male-dominated industry baby boomer who's a woman, right? It made no logical sense whatsoever. None. But the vision is what carried me through. And because it was the kids. I kept seeing the kids. Who is it that you're most drawn to? What evokes the most compassion within you? So I think the first stage of creating a compelling vision is to get really clear about what it is you really want. Or what are you attracted to? What qualities in other people are you attracted to? You might want to think about anyone that you admire in your life. Chances are good that there are going to be some qualities about that person that you want to emulate, right? And the fact, this is really important for you to hear this, the fact that you are drawn to that person, admire somebody else for the qualities that they have, is because you also have them within. Because you wouldn't admire them if they didn't live inside of you. So you need to trust that. They also live inside of you. You know, one of the things that I have noticed, hands down, that is a universal truth since I've been coaching for like 17 plus years, is that every single person I've met since I've been a coach, everyone has enormous amounts of courage, and they don't realize it. They don't realize it. And so the other thing is to take a look at where in your life that you've really stretched, you know, and what did you learn from that? That can be really, really helpful. You know, a wish, what a wish, you know, a vision, a goal versus a wish. A wish is, I want to live in this beautiful mansion, right? But why? If you want to live in that beautiful mansion or drive that beautiful car, you want to ask yourself why. Because if you ask yourself why, it starts off maybe as a pipe dream, but if you start asking yourself some questions, so what about that appeals to you? How will that impact your life? Who will you be once you live in that mansion? It will help you identify and discover some new attributes and talents that you have within that maybe you haven't noticed, or maybe you've just scratched the surface with. It's like we don't do enough inner reflection, and that's really important. And that's another way to, because vision is something we don't go after, it's already inside. And what we have to do is uncover all the fog that gets in the way for us to see our vision. Does that make sense? Does anyone have any more questions about vision? And I'm wondering if that is clear. Does that help you? And just to make something silly, just think of something like you're craving your favorite meal, right? What is your favorite meal? I bet you when you're craving that meal and you're really hungry, you envision it, don't you? So you are a visionary. We all are. You know, you can see it, you can feel it, you can probably taste it, right? And it's anticipation that's exciting, and that's what we need to get into the mix. So when a vision is much bigger than us, let's say you want to be a movie star, okay, or a professional athlete. Maybe I should stick in that arena since that's what this is all about, right? You want to be a professional athlete. Well, you know, what about that appeals to you? You know, what will that give you? How will that contribute to others? You know, again, ask yourself some open-ended questions to start and reflect. And it's really a grand thing to do it with some friends or colleagues, and to do it with each other and kind of coach each other through it, because you will get insights. You will, and just notice where you already are envisioning in your life with your favorite meal, getting together with your friends, your favorite show, the upcoming football season. I'm visioning about that all the time. I'm so excited. This is the NFL, starts Thursday night. We have the Super Bowl Green Bay Packers against the last year's Super Bowl Saints. So that should be a really, really exciting game on Thursdays, and it's hard to believe that it's upon us, and we're lucky it is because of the lockout. So vision is much more than a wish. It's just something that you're drawn to. What's really cool about that is that once I committed to my vision and got the support, because I was very discouraged before I started Insightful Player, because the NFL was okay with my coaching. They weren't that excited about it, so I had to find a new route. And the new route was, let's make them an offer they can't refuse. But the whole thing that drove me was the children. I want to touch kids, because I think kids are the ones that are going to save this world. I really think we're at a crossroads of transformation and obliteration. And I think if we empower our children, and if we give them the resources, and we coach them, and we mentor them, and we find ways to inspire them and help them get involved young into community service, when they're really young. I think that will be it. That's what I'm on this earth to do, is to help kids. And that's what Insightful Player is all about. So every time I got scared, and believe me, I did, I had a lot of doors slammed in my face, like, what experience do you have in the NFL? It was the kids. It kept me going. It was the kids. I just always thought of the kids. And the vision, because it's all about the kids, I become less self-conscious, because it's not about Chrissy Carew. It isn't even about the NFL players, when you come down to it. It's about the children. That's the source of Insightful Player. Let's inspire our kids. Let's give them positive stories of hope. I'm so sick and tired of all the negative news out there. It's incredible. We're fed it, so much of it every day, that we're almost oblivious to it. But it goes, even if we don't hear it, but it just unconsciously we do it. It does a number on a disposition. And it clicks in, because we all have that leftover from the caveman days, that fight or flight syndrome, where, it's in our cells, this enormous amount of fear. And we really have to really take a look at that. It's just incredible. And that's like, it just feeds it, it just feeds that part of what's in our DNA, and we need to stop it. We need to reach out, and we need to let the media know there are some positive stories are out there. I bet you have some tons. Every one of you have positive stories that you could share about people in your life that you just admire, and even in your own life, they need to start hearing those stories, and because they're not telling the other stories, the good stories, they don't hear them. And I think it's like an addiction to this empty sensationalism that none of us really need. It's just constant, and it's really, I think it's decaying the soul, and we got to knock it off. It's just really too much. So when we have a vision and make it bigger than ourselves, it really helps us, move providence. I would love to do some kind of positive movement. What's the word? It's not a revolution. A positive revolution is the only word I can think of right now. If I had someone with me brainstorming, I would be able to think of the word I'm thinking of. But anyway, a positive demonstration, that's what it is, with children, having children lead it. Now, all very peaceful, and talking about what do they want to hear? What do they need? They need a lot, and we need to find out what they want, and we need to give it to them, and we need to over give it to them and give them a surplus of it, because they'll really make a difference. Now I'm getting off on a tangent, and I'm supposed to be here talking about vision, but this is all my vision that it just keeps me going every day. And there were so many times where I almost threw in the towel with an Insightful Player, because it's a trailblazing effort. I didn't have a model to follow, but I knew, the kids, I had these kids that I really wanted to touch. And so that made a difference. And what I also realized is sometimes the work that we do in our world is, sometimes if you take your greatest passion and marry it to your biggest heartache, that's where your work is. Because that's what my experience is. And my greatest passion is empowering, inspiring kids so we can have a great life and people can follow their dreams and be kind to each other. And my biggest heartache is I never had a child. And I didn't even realize that was motivating me internally. I have these awesome stepchildren though, so I just want you to know I am so blessed. They are so fabulous, Patrick and Kelly, and I adore them. But there's always been a hole inside that I never had my own child. And so, do you have a hole out there that you might want to marry with your greatest passion? Because I think if we do, if we take our greatest passion and marry it to our deepest heartache, right? I think we can all dramatically change the world, and I think quickly. I think we can all begin to leap, create internal shifts, and totally widen our perspective. What do you think? Anyone have any thoughts about that? I mean, I was so empowered when I discovered that. I didn't even discover that till a year ago, and I was well into working on Insightful Player. And And so, and again, it's back to that nun. The life I want for these children is the opposite of that, how that nun treated me, you know? And that was I hated that school. And my parents sent me there, and all my siblings, because they thought that was best. But it didn't work out for me at all. And when I was 7th grade, I got to go to public schools. Oh, it was like a country club in comparison. It was wonderful. So I digress. I see, how do I get people around me to stop telling me my vision is wrong, stupid, or impossible? Ah, that's great. That's great. First of all, I think you should find new people. I had that. People put me down, like, what right do you have to do this? And so that's why vision has to be bigger, because you won't be affected by those people, because it has to be much bigger than your obstacles. And that, Coach Phillip, is a huge obstacle that a lot of us have. There are so many naysayers out there in the world. Oh my God. And instead of getting really ticked off at them, I've learned to actually evoke compassion for them, because they're not happy. And when you point your finger out, you're always pointing something back too, the rest of your fingers, we screw up expressions. So you point one finger out and the rest of the 3 fingers are pointing back at you. And what's one of the things I learned from Marianne Williams and The Return to Love, she said that people operate out of 2 feelings, 2 emotions only, love and fear. So when people are beating you up and saying your vision or your dreams are stupid, they're acting out of fear. Their perspective has really narrowed. I mean, it is very narrow, and we can't take it seriously. We have to have a support. We need more support than we think we need or deserve, always. None of us can do it alone. None of us. All the greatest leaders and successful people in the world all had support. All the athletes, my athletes, the encyclopedias are also wonderful people. They really are. They all had huge support. Look at the people in government. I don't want to go there, but just using that as an example. And I use this metaphor with my clients, whether they're Christian or not. Even Jesus Christ had 12 apostles. Hello. So one of the things that a lot of my clients enjoy doing is going out and building their 12 apostles. We need each other. We can't do it alone. And the way society is right now, fast service, the internet, texting, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. When are we in front of live bodies? We're not. We've got to find a way to get more intimate with each other. And the more intimate we are in having conversations with each other, we can help each other really discover what that vision is inside that really wants to work its way out, and really help each other with that, because we can't do it alone. I couldn't have done it with my friends. I couldn't have done it with my coach, without my coach. I couldn't have done it without my husband and my family, and I just couldn't. I couldn't. It just doesn't happen. None of it. And any time I do, because sometimes I go off on a tangent and get into this tunnel vision, I'll do something on my own for too long, without talking about it, it always puts me on a detour. I end up getting stressed out. My disposition changes. I get grouchy. I don't eat as well. I don't sleep as well. And it just doesn't work. So support is a big part of that. And the other thing about vision is, if you have a vision and you want to just play with it, just kind of go for it, the vision always gives back. The vision always gives back. I blubbered happy tears when I'm crying thinking about it. James Brown, someone I really admire. He's on NFL Today and on Showtime. And I called his producer, and cold, didn't know, and said I would really love for James Brown to write the foreword to my book. And he said, okay. and tell me about your book. So I told him about the encyclopedia movement. And this producer, Eric, was lovely. And so he said, okay, send me something. And I was so excited. I'm like, what do I send? You know? And he was so kind. He directed me. I started thinking out loud. Like I wasn't talking to this big producer, because I wasn't. It was within my vision. And so he got my genuine passion to help kids. And so I said, oh, I have an ebook, I have the book, I have the proposal, la 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 la. And he says, send it all. And so I already had it all sent. And all I had to do was write a letter, which was so easy because it was from the heart. I love James Brown. He's awesome. And he's also a minister, which I did not know that before. And you probably recognize him on NFL Today. That's my favorite show of all time. I watch it every Sunday in football season. It's on noon Eastern on CBS, NFL Today. So again, the vision kept me going to think bigger. You know, like a year before that, I would never have the gall to go after James Brown. So, at any rate, to make a long story short, sent the letter, and I got an email back from his assistant, Elizabeth, who was also awesome. And they wanted to know more why I wanted him, James Brown. Well, that was such an easy thing to write because I love James Brown. Anyway, to make a long story short, James Brown wrote the foreword to my book. I blubbered. I'm not even a crier. I was blubbering. That kind of tearing, and I still am so touched. I am so touched. He wrote a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful foreword to my book, and that was really, really exciting. And it was because of vision. It was the children. I forgot about myself, and that's where an example of vision given back, and that is, was a magical. It's magical for me, and you'll see the beautiful foreword in my book. And I also got some more people to write endorsements and all cold calls, So life opens doors for us when we honor our vision. It just doesn't, it doesn't make logical sense that a cold call would work. And it does. It just does. And that happens with all my clients. That happened with my players for being so committed. Rashid Davis was, playing for the Arena League, and he was working really hard. And he just gave it his all. He did whatever he took. He worked at Best Buy, and he had some other job too, just to support his family. And he gave it his all. And he showed up as a walk-on in the Chicago Bears, and he got picked up because he never gave up on his vision. And again, I think he was with the Cybercats on the Arena for like 5 years, something like that. He never gave up. Or we have Blaze Winter. He's someone that his coaches would not help him. And this guy, you gotta meet Blaze Winter. I gotta get him on this show. He's amazing. They had him in classes for the mentally disabled. He was bullied. He tried to take his life a couple of times as a child. Oh my God, as a child. Can you imagine the pain of that child? And he had this amazing mother and great-grandmother that really, really were there for him. And he found a way to get rid of his anger from his family situation by putting it into sports. He found something that he was drawn to. His life was not happy, so he had to find an interest, and it was football. And he played football. And even though his coaches in high school said they wouldn't help him, his mother, again, support, took him all the way across the country and visited colleges, and he got a scholarship at Syracuse. And he won all kinds of awards when he was there, and he played in the NFL for many years. It was vision that carried him through. It was vision that carried Rashid through. It's always about vision. It's always about that. It almost, those walking things at the airports where you get to people walkers. Is that what they call them? You know how cool? I love those. They're so much fun. It's almost like you get to super walk. It creates a people walker for you where it just takes you. A vision pulls you, and it's not like the push and the struggle. It pulls. You will push and you struggle, but it'll pull you much further. And I really think it's a really a great thing for you to really consider is working with vision. And I do have a top 10 list. If anybody wants to email me, I would be happy to send you any information on vision. I have also a top 10 that talks about vision, the top 10 ways to think big and win. Email me, Coach Carew, COACHCAREW @insightfulplayer.com, and I would be happy to email you any information on vision or reaching your dreams. Just give me a holler. So, my goodness, there are so many of you here tonight. I am so honored. I'm hoping that this whole vision conversation worked for you, and I hope you're walking away with something. And if you have anything any insights you had, I would like to encourage you to share them with somebody in your life, someone that supports you unconditionally, not one of those naysayers. Share the insights, and together, what is one action that you could take to honor that insight? And it doesn't have to be very big. It could be really small. What is one action that you could take to move towards that? Because every step you take, your vision takes 1,000,000 steps towards you. That's an exaggeration, but many more. It double, triple, quadruple steps towards pulling you. It's amazing. It's like invisible hands help you. It's amazing, And Joseph Campbell says, follow your bliss, and doors will open for you magically. And they do. And they do. And I want you to trust whatever's in your heart, because the reason why it's there is for you to fulfill it. And there's all kinds of support out there. And, if you need any more resources, also, Coach Carew @insightfulplayer.com. I'll share all my resources with you. Because we all need to really step it up. We all really need to follow our hearts. We need to do it to model that for our children. And we need to do it to help make our world a better place. Because I think the world will evolve and transform if we do follow our visions in our heart. And then the next step, which I can talk about if I have another player that doesn't show up, is why we want to see it through. We need to get really passionate about why, because that will turn into your mission. And the why will also have to be much bigger than the obstacles, because we all have obstacles. And it will continue to be the heat that fuels the vision. And it's amazing. So that's a different kind of show tonight, isn't it, at Insightful Player TV. So I want to thank you for staying with me. Just want to check to see if I have any more questions here. What if no one supports you? That's an amazing question. I definitely want to address that right now. We need to find support. We need to go out and find people to support us. Sometimes the best place to start is locally with your clergy. Some of us don't have families that support us. Not everyone has that. And I think there are a lot more people out there that aren't getting support than are. And you might want to start with your local, with your local churches. Even if you're not a member, they're so willing to talk to you. They're really fabulous. That is a really good place to start. If you want to email me, I'd be happy to do a teleclass just about how to get support. If anyone's interested in that, just send me an email, Coach Carew at insightfulplayer.com, because you deserve support. You deserve more than you think you need or deserve. I mean, we gotta have it. We gotta, and sometimes it's not that we don't have it, it's that we don't ask for it, and we don't know how to ask for it. And so that's another key thing, is that I think we're all craving more intimacy in our lives, because we're all fast service and technical out. I'm technoed out, right? And we need to learn to ask for it. And that's another conversation that could take a whole hour. You can create a mastermind. That's Coach Phillip, thank you. Create a mastermind group to get support. That's a wonderful idea. And if anyone's interested in doing that in your community, great. If not, I would be happy to do a telecall with people to how they might do that, because there is support out there, and people want to support you. We all feel better when we're giving and contributing to others. We've got to find like-minded people. Go find clubs that have things that you're interested in. Whether it's a book club where you can read books together. You know, I joined Toastmasters. I wanted to be a better speaker, so I get a lot of support from the Toastmasters people. There's all kinds of clubs, you know, all kinds of networking opportunities. Go into, look at your local paper, look online, and you even have to buy the papers anymore, and see what kind of groups are out there. Maybe it's a cooking group, maybe it's an interior design group, maybe it's some kind of sports group, fantasy, sports, football, or whatever group, you know. There's all kinds of support out there, but masterminds are great. They're really great because you get to continue with people and grow together. It's really a wonderful thing to do. So, did I answer if no one has it? What if no one supports you? Monica, did I answer you? Do you have any further questions about that? Okay, good, excellent. Thank you for asking that. I really appreciate that, and I always appreciate Coach Phillip. So there. So, how should I wrap up? You know, you gotta trust your vision in your heart. You gotta trust your goodness. You know, and you gotta trust the best of who you are. You know, another thing I just thought is Now Discover Your Strengths is a book you can get where it shows you all your greatest strengths by Marcus Buckingham. That's a really, really good book to get. And when we can surround our lives around our greatest strengths, you know, like orient our lives, shape our lives around our greatest strengths, it's a whole new ball game because we're on that road to fulfillment. And when we're experiencing the things that please us, vision just shows up. You just start getting insights, even if it's just social things. Like if you love live theater, go to more live theater. You know, if you like the comedy shows, go to them. You know, whatever it is that you enjoy, any kind of activity, anything that lights you up, even if it's, you know, a girly thing like taking a candlelit bath, or or working out at a gym and just like really getting into it and coming out of that gym soaking wet, whatever it might be. You know, whatever lights you up, like, you know, do more of that, because that will bring you insights to your vision, and it will give you the courage, and it will also, a very important point that I completely left out, it makes you so magnetic that you actually attract the people, the resources, and the opportunities to you if you commit to vision. And so I really would like to really encourage you to do that, because that's why we're here. And the fact that you're here is all the evidence you need to know that you can pull it through. So email me, coachcarew@insightfulplayer.com. I'm delighted to share any resources with you whatsoever. And if anyone's interested in a mastermind call, how to build a mastermind call, group of your own, I'd be happy to do that too. And I also have other resources for that as well. So I want to wish you a wonderful evening, and I want to thank you for being here tonight. It's really an honor. And next week we're going to have a new player on who's not in my book. I have a new insightful player, Myron Lewis from the Bucks, and he's a cornerback, and he's amazing. And he has a wonderful foundation named after his grandmother, where it's all about helping people with diabetes. And he's very humble. And his brother's going to come on with us. It'll be the first time we have two people on at once. So he'll be here next week. And I wish you a wonderful, wonderful week. Enjoy the first week of NFL. And get your kids to watch the show. You know, and ask your kids, who do they want to have on this show? And we'll go get them. All right? So have a great week. And pay attention to what's in your heart. Always. All right? Do something really great for you tonight, this day, this very day. Something very nice for you. And just one small step is all it takes. All right. Well, we'll talk to you next week. And Coach Carew at insightfulplayer.com. Thank you. Nighty night.